Good morning. Hey, we're on. Mark's like, you're on. Stop singing into the microphone. I'm sorry.
Hey, you.
Hey, good morning. It's Nicole. I'm here with Off the Shelf.
Hi.
Hey, good morning. That's not Molly you hear this morning. That's Hannah.
It's me. It's Hannah.
Good morning, Hannah. Molly's taking the day. She took the week. She's taking a little relaxing time away with family, and then we'll see her again next week. Our guest on the radio with us this morning is Miss Wendi Foos. Good morning, Wendi.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you here. Wendi is currently at our Orange Branch Library as the Assistant Branch Manager of Adult Services, but you might see her pop up the road to the Delaware Main Library sometime later this year.
Sometime later this year.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have you. The second half of the show, we're going to talk about all the fun things happening at the Orange Branch Library in Adult Services. You've got a lot of fun things coming, but I don't know, stay tuned if you're interested in things like coffee, canning, talking about your feelings, getting a little bit of mental, emotional support. Mm-hmm. We offer it all at the library.
Yeah, we're here for you.
Yeah. How are you doing this morning, Mark?
And we're going to talk about my feelings.
Do you want to?
No, not really. No.
Do we need to?
Later, maybe.
I was listening to the earlier segment about the dogs. Very good segment. Learning about how we can keep those puppers safe during the high heats.
Yeah, I didn't realize about the smushed-in faces. I never thought about that, how that would affect some of those dogs.
Yeah,
breathing.
The babes, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I heard them say even if you notice their gums are red, that's even like the capillaries expanding, trying to get the blood open.
Yeah, right. Interesting stuff.
Fascinating things, all the things that happen in our bodies and in our loved little pets' bodies, too.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about books.
We're pretty good at that.
We do okay.
We try.
Hannah, you are a much more voracious reader than I am. Has anything good been coming into your having read list, your I read it list this week or recently at all?
Yeah. I finished 2 books this week. One was a romance book called Canadian Boyfriend.
Yeah, nice.
A woman, she, in her teenage years, meets a man when she's working at a coffee shop, and she kind of wraps her whole, creates a fake Canadian boyfriend, and then she runs into him as an adult, and he is indeed Canadian.
What?
It's really cute. There is a lot of, it's not as spicy, but there's a lot of emotional talk, but about mental health and healthy coping mechanisms, because they both have some trauma in their past. But what I really loved that I read this week was called The God of the Woods.
Okay.
It is a mystery set at a camp in the Adirondacks. And it's kind of there are 2 mysteries. The camp is on this great natural preserve in the Adirondacks, and an old money family has built a giant mansion cabin thing up there. And then there's also, they run an 8-week camp during the summer. And in 1961, the son of the family goes missing, and he's never found. And we don't know what happened to Bear Van Laar. 13 years later, in 75, the math, I know, is not mathing.
That's
his younger sister is attending the camp. Bear never attended the camp. He was just, his younger sister is gone. She also vanishes. And so it's about the hunt for them. And then there's a serial killer on the loose who has escaped to prison, who was also active in the area around the same time that Bear has gone missing. And his name is, the serial killer's name is great. It's Jacob Sluter is the name of the killer, but they call him Slitter.
Oh,
great. So it's very atmospheric. There are a lot of things you don't know. The ending, I really liked the ending, the big reveal at the end. And there are lots of great female characters who are counselors, there's a female investigator. It's very interesting. I really liked it. Tore through it.
Remind us the title again.
The God of the Woods by Liz Moore.
Liz Moore.
Yeah, it's really good.
Moore?
Correct.
Nice. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Well, that sounds like a really nice,
wrap up the summer.
Yeah, I was like, it seems like a nice transition into fall as we
think about the woods, and there's a big beautiful lake, and it's excellent.
Kind of get ready for some fall readings here. What do you have for us, Wendi?
Well, I started reading A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah Maas.
That's a very popular one.
On that train.
This is your first time jumping on the train.
It is.
Okay.
What do we think? Because I read those too.
To know.
Let me give my thoughts, then you can give some of yours. But I'm usually a fantasy reader. I do like young adult, and I was surprised that this was not a young adult after I read it.
No.
Right? Yeah, and it was good. I read it because of the hype of a television show coming. I thought maybe I can get see what I like to
see
know
what it's
what's
about.
going on.
Yeah.
Yes. It's about a girl who is living in poverty with her human family. And
She's illiterate.
Yes.
Why do you classify them as her human family?
Oh, we're getting there.
That seems
getting
like
there,
an odd
so.
classification. No, I live at home with my human family.
There's more. It's fantasy. She hunts for her family, and one night she goes out and she shoots this large wolf, and it ends up being a member who lives in Fairy. And then she's punished. She gives two choices. She can choose death, or she can go live in Fairy.
Oh.
So it ends up being a loose retelling of
Beauty and the Beast, yes.
I was surprised by that.
The rest of the books in the series are not fairy tale retellings.
And I've heard once you get through book one, go to the other ones, and it gets a little bit better. I was slightly disappointed, but it is an easy, fast read. You like fantasy, it'd be great. Some people struggle with all the details in a lot of adult fantasy, but this is something that you wouldn't struggle with.
Oh, that's
right.
nice.
The world
Actually,
building is not as...
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I was going to say that is one of the things that I struggle with fantasy is it just takes so long to tell us, and these people live here, and these people speak this language.
No.
Right.
Yeah, it's more of a character-driven one. So.
Nice, nice. I honestly say I've heard so much about the book, the title, A Court of Thorn and Roses, and all this and that, but I literally, I know nothing about it. So that synopsis that you just gave is more than I knew 5 minutes ago.
It was good. I mean, it's worth reading if you have any interest.
I did see a post on Bookstagram that says that an illiterate 19-year-old kills someone and then is outraged to have consequences. That's
Give it the one sentence true synopsis.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's how it boils down. Yeah, but I actually listened to those books, and this for our listeners, this is kind of an interesting option. On Hoopla, they're called graphic audiobooks. And so what they have is so if she's walking through the woods, you can hear the rustle of leaves. They're sitting at a dinner party, and you can hear voices in the background and the clinking of glasses, and it's really wonderful. It wasn't my favorite book, but I listened to a lot of those books because I enjoyed the experience of a graphic audiobook.
That's a great recommendation. I have heard of those before, but I hadn't listened to one yet.
They
I've
are
listened to some
delightful.
great audiobooks that sometimes add that in, but
they are delightful. And like I said, I do not like the books because every book has its own reader, but I really enjoyed that listening experience.
Yes, that would help with the plot. I mean, maybe that would have made me be more on board that it was a great book. So.
Do you think you'll go to book 2?
Eventually. It's been a couple months since I've read this one.
Yeah.
So
you have to take a break for a second.
I might get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Well, I have been, I've been in kind of a book slump lately. I started one and didn't like it. Started another one, didn't like it. I started a Gregory Maguire. If you don't know Gregory Maguire, he wrote Wicked, the book, which the musical was then based on, which now has a movie coming out based on it. And so I wanted to see if there was something else in Gregory Maguire's tome that I wanted to fall into, because he does a lot of fairy tale retellings and classic children's storybook retellings. But I just couldn't. And it shouldn't have shocked me because I actually didn't like Wicked, the book.
Me neither.
I tried it, and it wasn't my favorite. I loved the musical more. And so I was like, okay, well, this shouldn't shock me. So instead, I'm going to give a recommendation that is based on one of our book club's books this month. It is called The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie by Rachel Linden. So this is described as Lolly Blanchard's life, really only seems to give her lemons. So she's lost her mother to a tragedy. She broke up with the first love of her life, and she abandoned her dream of opening a restaurant. And in order to keep her family's struggling Seattle diner afloat, to care for her younger sister and her grieving father. So really, she's just got mountain upon her. And 10 years have passed, and she really just kind of she feels lost still. So she dutifully whips up the diner's famous lemon meringue pie each morning, just kind of thinking about everything that could have been. It's one of those books. You'll see, you probably already see where it's going. There's a little magical realism in here. As Lolly's 33rd birthday approaches, her quirky great aunt, of course, we all need a quirky great aunt.
I can't wait to be a quirky great aunt.
It's going to be the best. Gives her a mystery gift. And the mystery gift are 3 lemon drops, and each of which allows her to live a single day in a life that might have been hers. These books are so much fun. The story is tale as old as time.
Yeah, it's giving Midnight Library.
Midnight Library, thinking of all the other things, like I open my door and I look at this path. I open my door and I look at this path. And so where could all the doors possibly take me? And generally, I'm not going to spoil the ending or anything like that. I think we all know what path we generally end up on at the end of these types of stories. But it's very cute along the way. The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie by Rachel Linden. That's a book that's going to be read by one of our book clubs this coming month at the Orange Branch Library. Is that right?
Yep, September 19th, 2 to 3. Please come.
That's an afternoon book club at the Orange Branch. And so if you are someone looking for something to do in the middle of your day, come over to the Orange Branch Library and chitty chat with our librarians there. Go Pacers if you are a Friday night football fan. They are having a home game tonight, and so it's against Marion Franklin. You could go and cheer on your local Pacers. Check out the Buckeye Valley schedules. Check out the Olentangy schedules. See who's home. See how you can support your home teams.
Enjoy the new Pennsylvania Avenue asphalt as you head toward the stadium on Euclid Avenue.
Yes. Drive over and say, ah.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Smooth ride.
It always reminds me of that scene in the Pixar movie Cars, whenever they pave the new road and they're like, that one makes me laugh so much. It's a good one. All right, well, we are back. It's Nicole, it's Hannah, it's Mark, and our guest this morning is Wendi Foos of the Orange Branch Library. Good morning, Wendi.
Good morning.
We are talking about all the wonderful things that are happening at the Orange Branch Library this September. You'll be excited to know that story times are back. So come to story times at all of your branches. We're so excited to have you back in. We've got a lot more programming coming up this month, too, though. What are some other things that are like some of the regular programs at the Orange Branch Library that people know and love?
Well, we have a couple of regulars. We have ESOL, so English for Other Languages. It is every Monday and Wednesday. You do need to call and get on the registration list. They will call you back. It's a very popular program. We also do Toastmasters twice a month, and that is also something you need to kind of register for. But if you show up, they'll help you on those Tuesday nights.
They're a friendly bunch.
They are, so.
The ESOL classes, those are not led by Delaware County librarians.
Correct.
Who are they led by?
It's an organization called Aspire, and we have a wonderful instructor that comes.
And comes every Wednesday. It's a long class period.
Yes.
When you look at it on our calendar, DelawareLibrary.org, you see the time. It's like 12:15 to 3. What are they doing? Or have you sat in on any of the classes and experienced kind of what's happening during those workshops?
It depends, really. We have a newer instructor, so I'm not exactly sure how she sets it up. But they are longer. I think there is some one-on-one help. There's some groups so that they can learn to, communicate with each other. She just does it differently every time. So.
It's great for all different kinds of learners.
Absolutely.
This is the only ESOL class that we have at our whole Delaware County District Library system. And it's open to folks from anywhere in the county to come to. And it's really a great resource for folks who are new to the area, have maybe newly moved here for a job, and just kind of want to work on their English a little bit. A lot of just last night we had some folks from the library who were at the multi-language family night hosted by Delaware City Schools. We've gone to it in the past for Olentangy schools. It is amazing how many languages are spoken in this county that people might not have any idea. Spanish, of course, but Hindi, Vietnamese, Chinese, there's just so many languages. So anyone of any language background can come to a class like this.
Absolutely. Just please call and try to register. They'll give you a call back. Might take a week or two, but they will call you back.
Great. That's a good way to let folks know, because they might be waiting on pins and needles.
Correct.
I'm sure you fielded those calls before.
Many times.
Okay, so then Toastmasters happens is it twice a month that they're at the Orange Branch?
It is twice a month unless they do an extra third Tuesday, which doesn't happen very often.
No.
Those are some orientations. But, you can just show up for that, and they'll give you some more information, hone your public speaking skills, among other things.
I could probably use a thing or two, learn a thing or two about that.
Me too. No, you're pretty good.
Well, they probably take out are they working on the ums, the ors, or are they just working on confidence?
I think they work on what works for you. I think it's more of an individualized thing.
Oh, like a style your own path.
I think so.
Create your own course.
This is what I've heard.
Let's talk about some of the things that might get our listeners a little bit excited if they're into some food or drink prep excitement. If they're foodies or drinkers, I don't know the best way to say that. Hannah, help me. Hannah's just like, Nicole's misfiring this morning.
So is my brain. I'm like, because my brain went, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So, Wendi, what's happening?
We're really excited about this. We have partnered with OSU Extension out of Union County a few times now, but one of the instructors is coming and doing a food preservation workshop. It is going to be September 9th, which is a Monday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. She's just going to come in and give the basics of how to can, maybe some of those vegetables you have left over for the summer.
Oh, yeah, you've been growing vegetables all summer. What do you do with them?
I tried to plan it so that it would be right at that end of the season.
Yeah.
She's lovely. She knows what she's talking about. Please come join us. It should be a fun class.
Yeah, I hope that your critters haven't gotten all of your tomatoes and your cubes.
Or the
and all
dry, no rain.
Oh, my goodness, right. So you don't need to bring anything with you to this class.
You do need to register online on our website. The registration is still open. There's still plenty of spots.
Okay. That's DelawareLibrary.org. Easy to go to. Go to our events tab, and then you can go over to September 9th, find that food preservation workshop right there, click register, and you'll be good to go. So that's at the Orange Branch Library. That's going to be a whole lot of fun, and you're really learning it straight from the experts' mouths.
Absolutely.
And then there's a little bit more of a hands-on coffee workshop coming. What's happening at that?
This is another thing we're excited about. It's a community partnership with Crimson Cup, which is actually right down the street from our Orange Branch. She's just going to come in, bring a lot of tasting samples, talk about origins. I think it's going to be a pretty relaxed program, and this is her first time doing it, so she's super excited too.
Yeah.
So this one does require registration. It is on Monday, September 30th from 6 to 7 p.m.
Oh my gosh, you're going to have all that
Evening
coffee on a Monday night at 6 o'clock.
She couldn't come in on a Saturday or a morning.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Coffee, she's probably busy in the mornings.
There'll be small samples.
You just tiny little baby samples, and just have a book ready for when you can't sleep at night.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it'll be worth it.
That is really fascinating though, because it just like any other thing that you can be an expert in. The beans come from different places. The tastes have different origins and different things that you can list that you can relate to. I don't know, the acidity. When I think about wine, they talk about the mouthfeel,
I think that's all true of coffee,
Yeah, it seems like a specialty versus a craft. I don't know the difference between these things in coffee.
No. And especially roasting, whenever they talk about like how the beans are roasted, I didn't realize the difference between like a blonde roast and a dark roast, and how actually one has more caffeine than the other.
Yeah.
It's not the one that you would think it is.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a lot more than just going to your coffee shop and getting your favorite coffee.
Exactly. Which I like it to be that simple, and sometimes it's fine to have it be that simple.
But now we'll know the backstory.
Exactly. That's a good time. Well, anything else happening at Orange that we haven't talked about yet?
No, not really. You plugged the adult book club coming up. We're happy to have you there, but there is a support group with Alzheimer's Association. It's a male caregiver support group.
That's right. Yeah, so with the Alzheimer's Association, this has been a long ongoing partnership, but it's specifically for men who are caregivers of somebody who lives with Alzheimer's.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so that's a really great way for them to kind of have that. This is where we're talking about feelings, Mark. Are you okay with this?
Yes, I suppose.
Okay.
Feelings.
All the feelings.
Yes.
So, you can get together and you have other people who are going through the same thing as you. And we really rely on those experts in the community to help us lead those conversations so that it's not on us, but we have the resources and we have the space.
Yes.
That's all we have going for September.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have you leading our adults at the Orange Branch Library, and then we'll see you maybe when you pop up the road in Delaware in a couple
months.
Yeah. We do have some other things happening at the library coming up very soon. And, of course, I just went away from the page where it's all happening. But we have a closure on Monday.
Yes, we do.
What is that
Labor
closure?
Day.
It's Labor Day.
We will be closed, but digital library open 24/7. So get your Hoopla, get your Libby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hannah, you want to give a quick update about what's happening with Hoopla? Have you experienced the new update yet?
Yes. So in an effort to maintain our budget, be fiscally responsible, we've put a cap on how many items can be borrowed from our hoopla collection a day. So you may later in the day try to say, oh, I want to borrow Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And it says, oops, your institution has met its threshold for the day. It's okay. Come back in the morning and try again. It happens at libraries all over. I've experienced it with Columbus.
Yeah.
And now it happens with Delaware, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, so if you've got digital reading that you want to do this weekend, it's best for you to maybe have those ideas in your head earlier in the morning rather than at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Exactly. I will say that our very first pause for reading is
very
back
popular
this coming week on September 5th. And that will be at the Orange Branch Library. That'll be Thursday, September 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. We ask that you register for that so that we can assign you a 15-minute slot during that time. And you get to come and read to a doggo who has been nice and cool in the library.
Give some scritches, read a book out loud.
Exactly. It's non-judgmental. It's great for your young readers, so it's a non-intimidating kind of environment for them to experience that. So that's a fun event happening also at the Orange Branch Library this week. Like I mentioned, all of the story times are back, and then I'm going to give an extra plug for something that's a little ways out. We have a Grandparents' Day family story time that's coming up on Monday, September 9th at 5:30 at the Liberty Branch Library. So if you're listening and you are a grand or you have a grand or you know someone who's a grand, get them and your littles to the Liberty Branch Library on Monday, September 9th at 5:30 for a very special story time with the elderly friends in your life.
Best for ages 2 to 6.
Yeah. Yep. All those good story times. All right. Well, that is all we have time for today. Thank you, Wendi, for being our guest.
Thank you for having me.
And Hannah, thank you for being my co-host.
Always a delight.
We'll see Molly next week. Mark, always a pleasure having you at the board. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Until next week, we'll see you in the stacks.